Hey guys, Egon. So it's all rainy and gloomy outside, it's all nice and cozy in here, so I thought I'd do a video on my most anticipated films for 2024. We've got some absolute bangers coming out. At the same time, some not so bangerish vocab. So what I'm going to be doing is going off IMDb. They have listed 124 films. I'm not going to be going through all 124. I'm essentially just going to be going through what stands out to me, quickly touch on it, talk about it, what I'm most excited about, and then move on to the next one. Now, before we go any further, please let me know down below your most anticipated films for 2024. 2023 has had its highs, it's had its lows, and it seems like, and I don't want to speak ahead, that we're going to be going out with a bit of a whimper with Aquaman 2 this week. I am seeing the film this Thursday night. My expectations are very low. I was fortunate enough to do a campaign with this giant 7-meter trident with Warner Brothers in Sydney, which is a really cool marketing campaign, but at the same time, no one's talking about the film. Even Jason Momoa doesn't have high hopes, which says a lot. Now, because I'm just scrolling through a list, these are in no particular order, but the first two, coincidence that they're the first two and they're my most anticipated for 2024. Let's go. So here we are on the IMDb page, upcoming movies for 2024, and right off the bat is Deadpool 3. What's not to say? Like, what's not to love? What's not to be excited about? We finally have the culmination of Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool and Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. We are not counting X-Men Origins Wolverine because that is just not the proper characterizations of these characters, but also the cameos are going to be peppered throughout this film. I hope this film just does not rely on the cameos. I hope the story is solid, but also injects these cameos in a very tasteful way. And again, just the fact that we have Hugh Jackman in a comic-accurate Wolverine costume does it for me. That is what I am most anticipating. That's what I'm most excited about. I honestly thought he was done after Logan. But at the same time, if that was his final hurrah as Wolverine, I was totally okay with that. And then at number 2, we have Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. Like I've said in my Furiosa video about the initial trailer that came out a few weeks ago, this film, for the most part, was shot 5 minutes down the road. It employed a lot of people here in Sydney, which was great. I love the look of it. It's very on par with the Tom Hardy Charlize Theron Mad Max. This is obviously an origin story of Furiosa, so we have Anya Taylor-Joy playing a much younger Furiosa. Despicable Me 4, I've never got into the Despicable Me franchise. Like, I watched a few of them, they were cute, but for the most part, nah. Number 6 on the list is Joker 2, and I'm not going to attempt to pronounce the proper title. I will get there. I will practice it for when the film does come out. We have the inclusion of Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. It's going to be very interesting to see where this picks off and whether or not those rumors of it being a partial musical are true. If it is, that's interesting. That's a choice, but it's not a good choice in my opinion. I think Joker back in 2019 was such a pleasant surprise. Everyone thought it was going to fail, but it was so good. It was so different. It was so disturbingly gritty and beautiful at the same time. And obviously the inclusion of the world of Gotham, the Waynes, the connection with Arthur's family to the Waynes and stuff like that. It's going to be very interesting to see where this goes. From all the set footage that is leaked out, well, not leaked out, they've shot out in the open. It looks very existential from the point of view of Arthur's head, what's going on in his head, whether or not things are dream sequences, who knows. But for the most part, I am really excited to see where this goes. And also Lady Gaga, she's amazing in anything. She is an absolute triple threat. Her as Harley Quinn just makes so much sense. Wicked, can't say I'm exactly excited for, but National Treasure 3. The plot is unknown at this time. Moving on. Number 14, they have The Fall Guy. Again, like Furiosa, Fall Guy was filmed here in Sydney, employed a lot of jobs. A lot of my friends got to work on them, whether it be in front or behind the camera, which was really cool. I think the reason why I'm so excited to see this is because the way they've hyped it up and their experience working on it, how cool the cast and crew were. So yeah, I definitely want to see this. Now, I like the idea of a stuntman who has left the business a year earlier to focus on both his physical and mental health. He's drafted back into service when the star of a mega budget studio, which is being directed by his ex, goes missing. Like, it's just such a wacky, bombastic sounding synopsis, but at the same time it looks fun, and also you get the beautiful cityscape in the film. I mean, what's not to love? I am totally not trying to get people to come here for tourism. And a sidebar, I know nothing about Madam Web. I've watched half of the trailer and I'm not too sure what is going on. So I'm not going to pretend like I know. I am still going to watch it. It's in the Spider-Man universe and it's from Sony. Marvel. Sure. Number 19 on their list is Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. Across the Spider-Verse was so damn good and left me on the edge of my seat with that cliffhanger ending. I can't wait to see how they wrap things up and what happens in this particular film. Like, it seems like the going is going to get going as soon as those credits roll at the beginning of the film. And again, just that animation, even starting with Into the Spider-Verse, the animation has always been the biggest draw card. It's so charming, it's beautiful, and it's fascinating to watch up on screen, just the different types of animation, especially when it comes to different characters, how they're differently animated. No one looks the same. Under that is Inside Out 2. I actually am very keen for that. I loved the first Inside Out. It was so different and a thinking film, a thinking kids film. Like, it really made you think, gave you a bit of pause, and I want this to do the exact same. Number 26 is Beetle Juice 2. I'm not going to be showing any photos of Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice because we all know what Warner Brothers did to your old boy Stanley, eh? When he posted a leaked photo. Fuck. The fact that we got a Beetlejuice 2, I thought would never happen, let alone getting Michael Keaton back, Tim Burton, Catherine O'Hara. We've obviously got Jenna Ortega in the mix as well, and I just want it to have that stupid campiness that the first one had. The first one initially wasn't a big success, nor when it was being pitched. Warner Brothers were like, this is not gonna work. This sounds weird and awful, but that's what I want. I want weird, awful, macabre, much in vain of the Addams Family, just especially when it came to those props, costumes, the makeup, especially when Beetlejuice is in that waiting room. It was just the best, and that's exactly what I want with Beetlejuice 2. And from that leaked photo, again, which I'm not going to show, Michael Keaton looks like he has not missed a beat. Mortal Kombat 2. Mortal Kombat 1 was a pleasant surprise for me. Had a lot of fun with it. It is by no means a perfect film, but I love the characterizations of certain characters. I love the props. I love the costumes. It was also filmed here in Adelaide, in Australia, which is great. I do believe they're filming up on the Gold Coast now, which is where they filmed the first Aquaman. Again, if you just treat it like the first one, but maybe improve upon certain things like story elements, characterization of certain characters, you definitely got a winner on your hand. And Carl Urban is Johnny Cage. Like, he's older, but fuck yeah. Robert Eggers' Nosferatu. Oh, baby. This one I am absolutely jonesing for, especially when you have such a class act of a cast. We've obviously got Bill Skarsgård playing Nosferatu. We've also got Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Willem Dafoe, Nicholas Hoult. I mean, it's just, it seems like it's going to be so good. And I want it to be almost warped and twisted like The Lighthouse. Much in that vein. I'm a big fan of Nosferatu. If you have not seen the original black and white silent film Nosferatu, please check it out. You're doing yourself a disservice. It still holds up to this day. It is disturbing. It is horrifying to look at, just the way it was filmed. And that's exactly what I want with this film, but also with a bit of a different twist on it, you know? Obviously, pay respect to what came first, but do your thing at the same time, if that makes sense. And I'm just waiting for that full reveal of Bill Skarsgård in that beautiful Nosferatu makeup. Now, here's an interesting one. Number 38, Rush Hour 4. Jackie Chan, Chris Tucker, Ryder, Ross LaManna. And that's... Jackie Chan's admitted he was not interested in reprising his role as Lee. So apparently this is supposed to be coming out next year. I'm not holding my breath. This isn't my most anticipated film, but I've seen the poster for this at my local cinema with Jason Statham. The Beekeeper. Now that is a badass title. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. There's a sequel to the 1996 film Twister called Twisters. Fucking hell, man. An updated to the Oh wait, so is this a remake? Dude, don't tell me this is a bloody remake. Glenn Powell, David Corenswet, Superman's in it? Yeah, right. Some things just don't need to be remade. I'm sorry. Kraven the Hunter. I wouldn't say this is my most anticipated film, but I am a fan of the character. I am a fan of Aaron Taylor-Johnson. I'm glad he's getting more like front and center roles these days. Like, he was great in Kick-Ass. I loved his performance in Kick-Ass. It's another Sony thing. Like, people watch the Madam Web trailer and scoff. People watch the trailer for Kraven the Hunter and scoff. But obviously, you got to hold out hope and put your expectations aside until you actually see the film. And for the most part, the trailer looks somewhat entertaining. You got Russell Crowe in there as his dad. He looks great as Kraven the Hunter. He looks jacked to the nines. But at the same time, I just feel a bit deflated, like, in terms of my anticipation for it. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Had so much fun with Ghostbusters Afterlife. The trailer looks fun for Frozen Empire. We've got the OG crew back, obviously minus the late great Harold Ramis. I'm keen to see what happens. It seems like the whole of New York gets frozen over. Whether or not it's like a Mr. Freeze type ghost, who knows? But for the most part, if you just keep on par with what Afterlife did and bringing the OG crew with the new crew together, but don't force it. Just make it natural with some good storytelling. You got a winner. Now, even though this is out in the States, I think, we're not getting it till next year, I don't think. Poor Things with Emma Stone and Willem Dafoe. It's like a different modern take on Frankenstein. Apparently, it's just so fucking crazy to watch and just weird. But that's what I want. I want something different. Apparently, everyone gives a great performance, including Mark Ruffalo. Very keen to see that. Oh, and also another honorable mention that seems to be out in certain parts of the world, but not here in Australia yet. We don't get it till January, and that's the Iron Claw with Zac Efron, the wrestling biopic movie about those brothers. I have gone down a rabbit hole in terms of what has happened to that family, and it is so tragic. And if that's how they do it on screen, yeah, man, that's going to be tough to watch. Apparently, Zac Efron's been getting great reviews with his performance, which is so cool. I love that guy. I'm so glad he didn't go down the path of a typical child actor, but also at the same time, I just want to be entertained and moved with a damn good piece of storytelling. Right under Poor Things. The Roadhouse remake with Jake Gyllenhaal, who's playing a UFC fighter. I remember seeing that footage when they were filming that particular scene and they were utilizing a real UFC crowd and UFC match. And Gyllenhaal looks jacked in this one. That's like, Jake Gyllenhaal just always gets jacked. Him, Gosling, like, always get the two mixed up. But if it's a remake of Roadhouse with Swayze, like, you got big shoes to fill, man. And if we go to the next page, which is rounding out the 127, Coyote vs. Acme. So completed. They're going to try and get that out. I did a video a few weeks ago, or should I say last month, on how it was shelved by Warner Brothers for tax purposes, much like Batgirl. Apparently Netflix and some other streaming services are trying to resurrect it and get it back out there, which is really cool. So fingers crossed it does get out there, because I would actually like to see it. It's one of those live action paired with animation films with John Cena. I'm keen. And then there's not... Oh, we've got Final Destination 6. Fuck yeah. I'll add that to the list. We've got a Metal Gear Solid movie, pre-production. Okay, we've got to get jumping on that one, boys. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it in terms of my most anticipated films for 2024. A very mixed bag, but a very exciting mixed bag. Like I said, please let me know down below your most anticipated films. For me, like if it was like my top three, it's got to be Beetle Juice 2, Deadpool 3, and probably NOS Feratu. Yeah, definitely NOS Feratu. I'm keen to see that. It's Robert Eggers, can't go wrong. Bill Skarsgård as NOS Feratu, like, he's just gonna have the creep factor there, if not more. So, really excited for all these films coming out. So this Thursday night here in Sydney, I've got the premiere of Aquaman 2. Not holding my breath, but very curious at the same time. So expect my review either Thursday night or Friday morning. Friday's actually my birthday, so fuck, I'm getting old. Love you guts, and I'll catch you in the next one.